It's been 2 weeks since Baldurs Gate 3 debuted at PAX East. In that chaotic demo where just about every role went wrong for Sven Vinker, Larian studio head, and the unluckiest man in gaming.
Go right.
That's 2 weeks to digest the radical overhaul of the beloved CRPG. We're talking turn-based combat, turn-based exploration, this bear, on-screen dice rolls, stealth mechanics, aggressive pushing, and snacking on party members as a playable vampire. For a thorough breakdown of all that, do watch my gameplay deep dive, which should be popping on screen now. It'll bring you up to speed and make this video easier to follow. I was lucky enough to see an extended 3-hour demo of Baldurs Gate 3 and talk to people on the development team, which revealed a lot of stuff you didn't see at PAX. So that's why I'm now looking at 15 features you didn't see in the Baldurs Gate 3 demo.
You fight well.
So good to meet you.
Let's start with building a hero. You could pick an Origins character, a pre-made hero with a unique backstory to unpick through the game, but in Original Sin 2, this meant custom-made heroes suffered in comparison. They didn't have as much story to chew on. Good news! Custom characters get a lot more love in Baldurs Gate 3. You select a race, class and background, which dictates skills, but also how you're perceived by NPCs. A gnome charlatan is received differently to a folk hero, obviously. But your hero also has crucial ties to the wider story arc in that they are, mostly, Baldurians, citizens of Baldur's Gate, which creates a personal link to the tale where the fate of the city plays a large part. I say mostly Baldurians, as some races don't hail from the city, like the Githyanki or Drow, which will frame their tales differently. And once you start making decisions in this world, Larian believe it will be so reactive that it will feel tailor-made to the exact hero you've built. I mentioned class as part of your heroic DNA. Our demo featured a cleric, fighter, ranger, rogue, warlock and wizard, which are the classes included in early access. In the full game, all 12 classes from the 5th edition player handbook appear, so that's also barbarian, bard, druid, monk, paladin and sorcerer to look forward to. It's also confirmed that multiclassing will feature, which is the option to choose a new class when a hero levels up. The level cap is 10 if you are curious. Larian says it will follow 5th edition rules, which allows you to mix skills from different classes as long as the base stats support it. You can't throw some barbarian thinking into the stew if you've got arms like twiglets. Alas, multiclassing won't be in early access at launch, but it's good to know it's coming. And let's not forget the companions who pad out your party of 4. After all, the scale of the cast was one of Baldur's Gate's defining features. As in Original Sin 2, your companions are the Origins characters you don't pick at the start of play. 5 have been announced so far, but more are coming. On top of this, you can also recruit henchmen as companions. These sound a lot like Original Sin 2's mercenaries for hire. They don't have bespoke storylines, so although you can take direct control of them, as you can any member of the party, they won't have the interesting dialogue options of the main tadpole gang. As in Original Sin 2, each Larian writer is paired with an individual origin character. They write their whole story and ensure a coherent voice. But Sven tells us that one writer actually has 2 origin characters to write because they interact with each other in a cool way. Now, this is pure speculation, but the moment I heard that, I thought of older Baldur's Gate companions who arrive in pairs. Think Jaheira and Khalid, rest in peace, or Minsk and Dynahir, also rest in peace. Larian are keeping stum on whether any old companions will return, although they have hinted that despite the 100-year gap between Baldur's Gate 2 and 3, this doesn't rule out old faces being alive. Elves live for hundreds of years, for example. I really liked the old dynamic of Minsk acting as a bodyguard for a witch companion and going berserk with grief when they died. It's wishful thinking, but I'd love to see something similar here. So let me know in the comments, if you could bring any one companion back, who would it be and why? Let's talk mechanics. One idea raised by turn-based mode, which is where you and the world take 6-second turns to move, is the potential to rob the world as it waits its turn. Thankfully, BG3 has a more sophisticated crime system than original Sin 2. As senior producer David Walgrave explains, NPCs can catch you vandalising, stealing, or killing innocent people. If they see you do it, they have different reactions, depending on what you've done, who you are, who they are, and where they are. Some will attack you, others will run away, and some will call the guards. Some might not even care about what you've done, because the value of the vandalised item is too small, or because you are famous or a friend, etc. Guards can fine you or put you in jail. If a crime is committed, NPCs might start investigating. You might get recognised. To me, this already sounds smarter than pickpocketing shopkeepers and then quickly dumping their goods so you pass the body search in DOS 2, and I love the idea of reputation getting you a pass. You can also expect new tech developments. Baldurs Gate 3 is built in Divinity Engine 4.0 and allows for vast environments that dwarf the sites of original Sin 2. Take the Goblin Stronghold at the end of our demo. We only have screenshots, but you get the feel for the scale of the place. The dizzying vertigo of the rafters is an important feature, as height advantage affects combat, so sneaking up a rogue archer can get you off to a strong start. You couldn't stand under platforms in original Sin 2. Larian now call these structures overhangs, and it lets characters fight on top and under bridges or find entire dungeons under the floor. In our demo, this warlord fight occurs above a spider nest, so pushing the boss into holes drops him into the chaos below. You can also throw items down to lower ground. I love the notion of raining healing potions on friends before using Featherfall to gracefully glide into the fray. As levels get taller, enemy brains get bigger, or at least they have more ways to kill you. The AI has all your moves at their disposal. They can trigger environmental hazards, note the ominous rock hanging over the battlefield, and they can destroy scenery if it makes sense. Ladders can be smashed, making it trickier to reach high ground, and they can lay down and ignite surface types. At one point in the demo, we saw Sven stripping skeletons of weapons before they reanimate, but the enemies will find and grab new weapons. And I love how they will exploit light and dark mechanics used in the stealth system. If a monster has dark vision, think night vision goggles but fantasy, they will douse nearby flames to shut off the lights, or fire Stygian arrows that create a pool of darkness to make the area more beneficial to themselves. We better start eating carrots, I guess. Bad news, not only will enemies be brainier, but there's more of them. Battles are bigger in Baldurs Gate 3 than they ever were in original Sin 2, largely down to the increased speed of each side moving at once, instead of flicking between individual heroes and villains. Sven tells me this system also clarified the class system. Classes are quite limiting on paper, but letting a team of 4 act together lets you combine limited skills into interesting combos, be it laying down grease and igniting it, or shoving monsters together so you can hurt them in an area of attack. Sven says in DOS 2 they gave combat designers the aim to make each fight about 2 or 3 turns. If it's longer, you're probably not meant to be there, but the speed of battle here, owing to that hero synergy, enables much bigger throwdowns. Baldurs Gate 3 is full of skill checks, the passive checks at the side whether you spot a hidden cave, say, and active checks where a dice rattles on screen to mark a key moment of fate. Can you talk your way into a stronghold, or talk yourself out of drinking a companion? Astarion here clearly hasn't read the coronavirus guidance. 2 key things here. 1, failure can be rewarded too. If the RNG gods screw you over, Larian wants the game to take you to interesting places. Sven says the game promises that if it goes differently, it will go differently. When Astarion gulps down a glass of Shadowheart, there's a chance that he can't stop drinking, and that's hers slurped out of the story for good. It's a narrative fragility that was in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 too, where companions would happily turn on you and waltz out of the story if they disagreed with your decisions. More importantly, skill checks mean your ability scores, which govern both passive and active outcomes, are super important important. One additional point gets you so much extra percentage chance of success that moments of self-improvement should feel supercharged. It's another benefit of a level 10 level cap. There's very few opportunities for advancement in a game that could be 100 hours long. As Sven says, when the stakes are high, you react to it more. This feels very true to the original games, where the weakness of a level 1 hero meant that every upgrade, even pushing 4 hit points to 8 hit points, felt like a giant leap. Oh, and one tiny thing that Sven confirmed to me, the game will feature inspiration points. In the tabletop game, these are granted at the DM's discretion, often rewarded for playing your character in a compelling way. I'm not sure how you earn them in Baldurs Gate 3, but as in the tabletop, if you have one, you can cash it in to re-roll an active check, should the dice screw you over. Just don't blow it on anything frivolous, save it for a proper life or death situation. Or maybe you'll re-roll with the power of save scumming. If you want to save scum your way to victory, Sven wishes you the best of luck. I'll admit I do this a lot in Original Sin, and Sven says he's partial to save scumming too, but he feels it can't be done in Baldurs Gate 3, as there are simply too many permutations. You simply wouldn't be able to keep up with the branching trees, because there's so much stuff in the game, and you can't save scum everything. If anything, his PAX Demo shows off how he hopes you'll approach the game. Just keep on trying. He says that if you experiment and the game rewards you for it, you'll keep on doing it. Every tale needs a villain. Enter the Mind Flayers. As Sven tells it, the decision to use the brain-eating squid boys came on a flight to see Wizards of the Coast to discuss the game's script. He saw the image of the illithid tadpole crawling towards an eye in Volo's Guide to Monsters, and started thinking about what it would be like to have one in your head. Larian already knew it would be a tale about survival, and this seemed a perfect fit. Not only do you have to survive having a tadpole in your skull, but the wider Mind Flayer story is all about survival, as their empire crumbled, pushed them to the Underdark miles beneath the earth, and started their plot to bring back the Grand Design. That's their evil empire, not the popular Channel 4 house building show. Problem with this fantastic setup is that once a tadpole is in your head, you traditionally have 7 days where you undergo ceremorphosis, the process of transforming into a Mind Flayer. And in our 3-hour demo, our party slept for at least 4 days. So Larian talked with Wizards of the Coast about the potential for a different kind of tadpole, one that can turn you into a Mind Flayer, but not necessarily. Just like that, it becomes a killer moral hook for the tale. You have this lodger in your head that can lead you to darkness, or be a thing for you to get rid of. The promise of that darkness is strong, so maybe you won't resist, or maybe you'll have to embrace a bit of that evil in order to achieve something good. Is it okay to give yourself over to the tadpole if other people are depending on you? It also raises a great party dynamic. Your band of heroes have to work together, but they all have tadpoles in their heads, and how can you tell who is listening to theirs? As in Baldurs Gate 1 and 2, different companions lean towards good and evil. Leave Astarion to his own devices, and Sven says that you can rest assured he's not going to say no to illithid powers, which means you can't ever rest assured, as bedtime is when Astarion does some of his best biting. Mechanically, it also creates a mental bond to enemies with a tadpole in their head. In our demo, these mysterious figures are referred to as true souls, and at one point we see Astarion mind meld with another true soul who commands a goblin army in order to send their troops away. But every time you use that power, you are giving in to the illithid invader. One concern around Baldurs Gate 3 is that the series has a different tone to the more jokey and frivolous flavour of Original Sin. Personally, I think this overlooks the quite silly comedy of Baldurs Gate 1 and 2, I mean, come on, you've got an attack hamster, and some really sinister stuff in Original Sin 2. In our chat, Sven is keen to emphasise that Baldurs Gate 3 has a lot of evil shit, and that it keeps descending more and more. I wonder if this is a literal reference to visiting subterranean subterranean hellholes. Crucially, he says you'll be rewarded for doing bad things, that the Absolute, which is the mysterious deity mentioned throughout our demo, offers some pretty compelling prizes. Even Astarion is way more sinister than I first thought. Vampires made him their spawn after catching him selling criminals into slavery when he was a magister. His punishment has lasted hundreds of years, and Sven cryptically refers to something written on his back that when you finally see it, you'll be, and I quote, "Oh, f***." Of course, the mystery of Astarion's back, and indeed much of Baldurs Gate 3, won't reveal itself for some time yet. Early access is planned. It'll feature Act 1A of the game, which should offer at least as much adventuring as Fort Joy did in Original Sin 2's early access. We've got even more stuff to dig into over the coming weeks, so if you have enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to the channel for lots more Baldurs Gate 3. And if you haven't, watch my breakdown of our demo and my thoughts on the ideas I'd like the game to pinch from D&D's Descent into Avernus campaign. Thanks so much for watching Rock Paper Shotgun, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.